Hey guys, Jason with Maker's Garage, and today I want to show you how to properly install the Maker's Garage taillight kit. I want to help you take your 85, 86, SVO, and 93 Cobra style taillight from this to this, the Maker's look. Before we get started, let's talk about what comes in the Maker's Garage taillight kit. You get 2 rolls of 9-inch by 31-inch 12mm laminate smoke tint film, enough to cover 2 lamps. Squeegee for pushing the film up against the taillight lens surface while removing air bubbles. 40 feet of 1/8-inch pinstriping tape. You need about 31 feet to complete both taillights, so you have about 9 feet left over. The squirt bottle you fill this with water. This water acts as a lubricant between the tint film and the taillight lens surface. That allows you to easily move the film across the taillight lens surface without the film sticking to the taillight lens. And then a sharp knife for trimming your film. So now that we know the desired look we're going for and what comes in the kit, let's get started with the install. Additional materials you would need: black trim paint, paint prep wipes, clean cloth, hair dryer, scuff pad, 1/4-inch fine line tape, 1 to 2-inch masking tape, 1/2-inch masking tape, 3/8-inch masking tape, and if you cannot find 3/8-inch masking tape, you can use 1/4 and 1/8-inch tape instead. Clean lamp with soap and water. Clean lamp with prep wipes until the surface is completely clean. Using a dry cloth, wipe down lamp until completely dry. Using fine line tape, mask off edge of lens surface. Trim fine line tape to edge of lens surface. Next, apply fine line tape to the lamp edges. Now trim fine line tape at existing fine line tape, making a square corner. Repeat process on outboard edge of taillight. Next, clean up the corners of your fine line tape until they're completely square. At this point, the fine line tape should be completely surrounding the edges of your lens. Using your 1 to 2-inch masking tape, cover the lens surface in between the fine line tape. The masking tape should slightly overlap the fine line tape. trim masking tape. Repeat process on bottom lens. Next, scuff the gray surface that will be painted black. Continue scuffing surfaces until all trim surfaces have been completely scuffed and are no longer shiny. If available, use compressed air to blow off soot. Before painting, make sure that the masking tape and the fine line tape are still adhered correctly to the surface of the lens. Wipe down surface with a dry cloth. Now that the tail lamp is completely prepped and ready for paint, grab your can of trim paint and start cutting in the edges. Spray a light coat of trim paint until covered. After first coat is dry, spray second coat. Let paint dry for 24 hours. This is critical to make sure that the tint film does not stick to the paint. Remove masking tape until lens surface is completely exposed. Remove fine line tape. Next, we're going to apply the trim film using water. At this time, it's best to lay down an extra towel to collect any excess water. Apply water to lamp lens, making sure to cover the entire lens with water. Next, lay out the tint film until it stays completely flat. Next, pull back the tint film backing about 6 to 8 inches and cover the tint film with water. Move the taillight lens into a comfortable working position. Apply about 2 to 3 inches of the film onto the taillight lens, working with your hand in the squeegee until all bubbles have been removed. Keep laying the film down about 2 to 3 inches at a time until you get the outboard edge of the taillight. Once at the outboard edge, trim the center of the film with the X-Acto knife. This will help make the transition from the back surface to the side surface of the tail lamp. Massage film into place using your hand, squeegee, Now that the film is completely covering the taillight lens surface, take your towel and squeegee to help push out additional air bubbles and water. Trim film about a ½ inch off the edge of the lens surface. Now trim the center of the film. Flipping the X-Acto knife upside down will help to eliminate scratching the newly painted trim surface. Use a hairdryer to heat the film. Doing so will allow you to easily massage the film around corners and into grooves. Continue process until film has been completely installed and trimmed to the edge of the taillight lens surface. Once completed trimming film the lens, reinstall the tail lamp on vehicle. So at this point, the taillight tint film should be on the taillight. The taillight should be installed back on the vehicle using the factory hardware. The reason we want it on the vehicle and not on a workbench is because that way, as we apply every single line of pinstriping tape, we can step back about 15 to 20 feet to evaluate that line against the rest of the body lines on the car. The top line being on the deck lid and the bottom line being on the bumper. By allowing each line, or making sure each line is parallel to this line right here on the deck lid, as you apply every single line directly underneath of it, they will be consistently parallel, so as you work to the bottom, it will be parallel with this bumper. So it's really important that you keep it on the car and not do this on the workbench. Now, before I start applying the first line on here, there's two methods of installation for this style taillight. The first one being on the SVO and the 93 Cobra taillight, which you guys are really lucky if you have those taillights because you already have factory pinstripes on there that you can use as a guideline. What you would do at this stage is you would just simply turn on your taillights, and you could see the factory pinstriping lines already underneath there. You would grab a roll of your pinstriping tape. You would start from the outboard edge directly on the top line, directly over the factory pinstriping tape, and you would just lay down the pinstriping tape consistently from outboard edge to the inboard edge. I still highly recommend stepping back about 15 to 20 feet to evaluate that line against your deck lid line first. The next method is the 85 through 86 taillights. You don't have the factory pinstriping, so there's a couple extra steps that you're going to need to take to make sure that each line from top to bottom is consistent. And that's going to be done using different thicknesses of masking tape. The first one being a 1/2 inch, which is your outboard edges. That would be from 1/2 inch here, 1/2 inch at the top, and then 1/2 inch at the top here on the bottom lens, and then same with here. Now the factory gap on the 93 Cobra taillights that you would see right here is about 3/8, and then another 1/2 inch, another about 1/2 inch right there. It's actually a little bit longer. It's probably more of a 3/4 gap there. But we're going to start with a 1/2 at the top, lay our first line of pinstriping tape, 3/8 tape in between, another line of pinstriping tape, 3/8 in between here, another line of pinstriping tape, and then that line directly underneath there, that'll kind of become what it wants to become. And that's how the 93 Cobra taillight is. These lines are a little bit more biased to the top of each lens. So let's start by applying our first line of 1/2 inch tape at the top, and then that'll act as a guide for the first pinstriping tape, and then we're going to take it from there. So now that we know the two methods of installation, which are the 85 through 86 taillights and SVO 93 Cobra taillights, let's get started by installing our first line of pinstriping tape on this 85 through 86 taillight. You can use this method as well on your SVO 93 Cobra taillights. You just don't really need to because you have the factory pinstripe that you can use as a guideline. But we're going to get started. I'm going to go ahead and lay my first line, which is this 1/2 inch masking tape. You can get this at different art supply stores or different hardware stores. If you have any problems, just shoot me an email, and I'll guide you in the right direction where you can get 1/2 inch tape like this. So let's start. We're going to start by laying this first tape up here. We're going to lay it directly on this edge that you cut earlier where your tint film is. And this line is also very important because you want to make sure that this line is nice and parallel to the factory taillight and deck lid. And step back about 15 to 20 feet to evaluate this line before moving on to the pinstripe line. We have the top line done. We're going to start with the second line, and that's a 3/8 inch gap between the first line. I'll show you here, the first line and the second line. This is the factory 93 Cobra spacing. Trying to find 3/8 inch tape is actually slightly difficult, so what I did was it was a little bit easier to find a 1/4 inch and an 1/8 inch tape, and I take those two and combine them side by side to get my 3/8 spacing. And now with the 1/8 inch. Keep tension on tape. This will help you guide the tape into place and maintain a straighter tape line. And now with the second piece of pinstriping tape. Once again, lay it out, find your length, and then Using a flat edge, trim the pinstriping tape about a 1/4 inch inboard of the taillight lens surface. Continue the process on the inboard side of the taillight. Now that we're done the installation of the Maker's Garage taillight kit on the driver's side taillight, move along and finish the passenger side taillight. And after you're done, please take photos. I would love to see what you guys have come up with, and share those through Instagram and Facebook, and make sure you hashtag me. I would love to see them. If you have any questions or concerns with the installation of the Maker's Garage taillight kit, please reach out to me through Instagram, Facebook, and even email. I would love to help you answer those questions. Thank you for your support, and thank you for watching the installation video of the Maker's Garage taillight kit.